All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the world of sports betting. And you know what? We've found this incredible playbook, and it turns out the game has almost nothing to do with sports and everything to do with psychology. So let me ask you something. When you lose a bet, who do you blame? A missed penalty, right? Or maybe the ref had a terrible game. We've all been there. But what if your biggest enemy isn't on the field at all? What if you're fighting the wrong opponent?
Yeah, that's the thing. This whole betting world, it's not really about luck. It's not even about how much you know about sports. The real game is a psychological war for your money. You versus the bookie. And trust me, they've got an entire arsenal of hidden weapons designed to make sure your cash ends up in their pocket.
Okay, so let's step onto that battlefield. We're not talking about a soccer pitch here. No, this is a mental war zone, and the bookie has rigged the rules of engagement to make sure they come out on top, time and time again.
And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You've probably seen it. A huge favorite loses out of nowhere, and suddenly everyone on SofaScore is screaming, "Mafia," or "It's fixed." But here's the secret. Most of the time, it's not a fixed game. It's a psychological one. They just walked straight into a trap that was set for them.
So, what are these traps? What are these hidden weapons they're using against you? Let's pull back the curtain and really expose the bookie's arsenal. This is how they make sure the house almost always wins. You know, a lot of people think match fixing is the bookie's biggest weapon. It's not even close. Their greatest weapon, it's the odds themselves. They're not just numbers, they're psychological tools. Think about it. They'll slightly lower the odds on a massive favorite because they know tons of people will bet on it no matter what. That tiny little adjustment multiplied by thousands of bets guarantees them a profit. It nudges you towards what feels safe even if your gut tells you something different. And then there's the accumulator, or the parlay. This one is all about playing on your greed. You add a couple of games. The potential payout gets a little bigger. You add a few more, and then, bam! Once you hit 7 or 8 games, the bonus suddenly shoots through the roof. That's the bookie giving you a little pat on the back, saying, "Go on, add one more." All while they know that with every single game you add, your actual chances of winning plummet to almost zero. Okay, this next weapon is where the battle gets personal. It turns inward. It's called overstaking. This is when you bet with money you really can't afford to lose. We're talking rent money, tuition, that kind of thing. Suddenly, the bet isn't about a game anymore. It's about a major life problem if you lose, and that triggers real fear, real stress, and it completely destroys your ability to think clearly. Rational thought goes right out the window, and panic takes over. And check out this quote. It's a perfect example. Someone had a totally logical bet picked out. Over 1.5 goals in a Premier League game. Solid analysis. But because the stake was too high, that fear kicked in. He got spooked. And what did he do? He ditched his smart bet and switched to some random, completely unpredictable reserves match in Uruguay. That's not logic speaking. That is pure fear. All right, here's another trap that so many people fall into. League dependency. It's a classic rookie mistake. You build a whole ticket with, say, 5 picks, and they're all from the Premier League on a Saturday. It feels smart, right? Efficient. But it's actually super risky. Because leagues can have off days, you know? Days where goals just dry up, or underdogs win everywhere. By putting all your eggs in one league's basket, your entire ticket can get wiped out by one weird afternoon. So we've seen the bookies' playbook, all their tricks and traps. The big question is, how do you fight back? How do you create your own playbook? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in mindset. You have to stop thinking like a fan and start acting like a cold, calculating analyst. Let's really look at the difference here. The amateur, they bet like a fan. They see Manchester United and they just click. The professional, on the other hand, is digging into the data, looking at recent form, home versus away splits. The amateur sees the odds and thinks, "Oh, that must be right." The pro sees the odds and asks, "Where's the value here? What are they trying to make me do?" And maybe the biggest difference, the amateur gets emotional, overstakes, and panics. The pro stays completely detached and only bets what they can afford to lose, keeping a clear head. It's really about swapping that fan passion for a disciplined process. Which brings us to the most important part of all this. How do you actually win the mental game? This is your strategy guide. Look, winning isn't about some secret tip or a guaranteed pick. It's about mastering your own mind and using the right counter moves against the bookie. Okay, look at this number, 80%. What do you think that represents? Get this, it's the estimated percentage of those huge, life-changing wins that actually come from tiny stakes. I know, it sounds totally backward, right?
How on earth could you win more money by betting less?
Well, this quote right here just nails it. A clear mind wins more than a desperate one. When you only have a little bit of money on the line, there's no fear, there's no pressure. You're not second-guessing yourself. Your mind is clear, it's sharp, and you can make smart, logical picks. That small stake is actually what sets you free to bet smarter.
So here are your counter tactics. This is the stuff you can actually do. First, stop throwing money at those chaotic, unpredictable leagues. That's just giving money away. Second, when you win, take the money out. Don't let it sit there, tempting you into making a stupid, oversized bet. And of course, always do your own homework. Look at the stats, the recent form, and most importantly, leave your emotions at the door. So we'll leave you with one final question to think about. The next time you're about to place a bet, just stop and ask yourself, who's making this decision? Is it the fan, full of hope and emotion, or is it the analyst, cool, calm, and seeing the whole board? Because the answer to that question is going to decide who really wins the money.